If you were born before 1951, there's something you need to know, and fast. Because while millions of pensioners are set to receive a major £575 boost from the government's triple lock rise, thousands of older pensioners are being quietly left out. No letters, no warnings, just missing money gone before they even realize it. Could you be one of them? Stay right here, because what's happening behind the scenes could mean the difference between gaining hundreds of pounds or losing them forever. Welcome to UK Insight, now your trusted guide for pensions, benefits, and senior living in the UK. Stay informed, stay supported, and enjoy your golden years with confidence. Subscribe now and join the community. Every year, the government decides how much the state pension should increase. They use a system called the triple lock, which guarantees that the pension rises by whichever is highest inflation, average earnings growth, or 2.5%. It's meant to protect pensioners from falling behind with the cost of living. This year, the rise is expected to be 8.5%, a significant boost that could add around £900 a year to the full new state pension. But here's where it gets tricky, and where many older pensioners are feeling unfairly left out. If you were born before April 6, 1951, and you reached pension age before 2016, you're most likely on the old state pension system. That's a completely different setup from the new one introduced in 2016. And under this older scheme, the average payment is much lower, sometimes as much as £70 less per week. So, while newer retirees are getting the full benefit of that 8.5% boost, many of those born before 1951 are only seeing a fraction of that amount. For them, the annual increase might add up to £575 less than what someone on the new pension receives, even though both groups paid national insurance throughout their working lives. Unfair. Many think so. It's a gap that's been growing quietly, year after year. And yet, it rarely makes the headlines. So, how did this happen? To understand it, we need to go back to 2016. That's when the government launched the new state pension, a simplified system designed to make things fairer for future retirees. The idea was to replace a confusing patchwork of old payments, top-ups, and additional entitlements with a single flat weekly amount around £203, 85p per week in today's terms. But there was a catch. Anyone who had already reached pension age before 2016 stayed on the old system. They weren't moved to the new one automatically, no matter how long they'd worked, how much they'd contributed, or how little they were getting. And because of that, thousands of older pensioners, particularly those born before 1951, are now effectively frozen in time, trapped on a system that gives them less every year compared to newer retirees. Now, combine that with the triple lock rise, and the difference becomes painfully clear. Let's say you're on the old basic state pension, currently around £169, 50p per week. An 8.5% rise would add roughly £14, 40p a week, bringing it to about £183, 90p. But someone on the new full state pension, starting from £203, 85p, would get an increase of about £17, 30p, taking their weekly income to over £221. That's a difference of nearly £37 every single week, or just over £1,900 a year, between the two pension systems. And even though the headline rise might sound generous, those born before 1951 are still missing out on hundreds of pounds compared to newer retirees. So why hasn't this been fixed? According to the government, the 2016 pension reform wasn't designed to make everyone equal overnight. It was meant to simplify things for the future. But that explanation hasn't gone down well with campaigners, who argue that older pensioners, especially women, are being unfairly penalized for being born a few years earlier. Some even call it a postcode lottery of birth dates. If you were born a few months too soon, you're stuck on the old system for life. If you were born after 1951, you're on the new, higher-paying pension. And what's worse, many of those affected don't even realize they could be entitled to top-up payments through benefits like pension credit or winter fuel allowance. Pension credit is a means-tested benefit that can top up your weekly income if you're on a lower pension. But more than 850,000 eligible pensioners are still not claiming it, leaving an average of £3,900 a year unclaimed per person. If you're one of them, or if your parents are, this could make a massive difference, and it's worth checking right now. Even claiming pension credit can unlock other benefits like council tax reductions, free TV licenses, and help with heating bills. In fact, the Department for Work and Pensions has been urging older pensioners to apply before the winter season starts to ensure they get the cost of living and warm home payments on time. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture, the triple lock itself. There's growing debate about how sustainable it really is. The government faces pressure to keep it going, especially with inflation still high and many retirees struggling. But critics say it's becoming too expensive and could soon face cuts. If that happens, those already on the old state pension system could fall even further behind. For someone born before 1951, that could mean the gap widens every year and their income never truly catches up. This has led to growing calls for a fairness review of the pension system. Experts argue that pensioners who retired before 2016 deserve a proper adjustment, one that reflects the years they've contributed and the rising cost of living. Some MPs have suggested transitional payments or automatic pension credit top-ups for the oldest pensioners to close the gap. But so far, there's been little action, and many fear that the November budget may once again overlook this silent generation. And while the £575 figure might sound like just a small difference on paper, for pensioners living on fixed incomes, it's enormous. That could be the cost of heating during winter, a year's worth of prescriptions, or even basic groceries. Many of those born before 1951 are now in their 70s or 80s and facing higher living costs than ever before. Energy prices, council tax, and food bills have all gone up, yet their pension hasn't kept pace. It's no wonder that charities like Age UK and Independent Age have been sounding the alarm, urging the government to ensure no pensioner is left behind. They've warned that failing to address the gap could push thousands more older Britons into poverty this winter. So what can you do about it? First, check what kind of state pension you're on. If you reached pension age before April 2016, you're on the old system. If you retired after that, you're on the new one. Then, find out exactly how much you're getting each week. You can do this online through the government gateway or by calling the pension service. Next, check if you qualify for pension credit. Even if you think you won't qualify, it's worth trying. Sometimes, a small reduction in savings or a slight drop in income can make you eligible. And once you're approved, it opens the door to dozens of extra benefits automatically. You might also want to look into national insurance gaps. Some people can boost their pension by paying voluntary contributions for missing years. But the rules are strict, so always seek advice first. And finally, don't ignore official letters from the DWP. Thousands of pensioners have missed out on back payments simply because they didn't respond to notifications or didn't realize they were eligible. If you're unsure, call the Pension Service helpline. They can check your record and confirm what you're entitled to. Thanks for watching UK Insight Now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with other seniors who need this info. See you in the next video. Stay well, stay informed.